everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Ashley and this is Crafts with Ash. I'm really excited to show you my crafts today. They are inspired by two Hobby Lobby fall decor pieces. Let's get started. To begin, we're going to make this warm autumn sign. First, you're going to need this pumpkin from the Dollar Tree, or any pumpkin, a cocktail sign, or they say reception or something like that, and then the football and pumpkin sign, this package of leaves, and then some nautical rope, wire, and raffia. We will need some other stuff later. First, you're going to take some Waverly chalk paint in white and you're going to paint the pumpkin. Now I painted it on the back because I didn't feel like messing around trying to pop those 3D pieces off from the jack-o'-lantern part, so this is just fine. Next, you're going to take the football and pumpkin sign and you're going to take two pumpkins off of the sign. Then you're going to take some orange acrylic paint, I used jack-o'-lantern, and you're going to mix it with a little bit of black. Now, this is kind of to your taste and how you want it, and I honestly just kind of played around with it a little bit, and you'll see that I ended up just putting it directly on the pumpkin because I'm really getting started in learning how to mix paints and make different colors. So like I said, I just really had to play with this. But basically I was just shooting for a darker orange than what I had there. I apologize, the color I used was pumpkin orange. Next, you're going to take that little cocktails wedding sign, and I originally started painting it with the orange and then realized that I would have to put several coats in order to cover it. So I went ahead and I wiped that off and I ended up putting a coat of Waverly chalk paint on it in white, and look how much better that covers. I'm so glad that I didn't have to use multiple layers of paint. After all of my pumpkins were dry, I took some apple barrel Christmas green color and I went ahead and painted the stems of each of the pumpkins. Next, I took some antique Waverly wax that I got from Walmart and my favorite distressing brush, and I lightly put some of the wax onto the pumpkins just to give it a rustic antique look. Now you can tell that I'm going in the direction of the pumpkins, so I'm going a little rounder on the edges and then lightly brushing up and down. I also put some on the stem as well. So the bigger pumpkin in the Hobby Lobby sign looked like it was white and black. So I took some black acrylic paint and I did the same thing. I dipped one of my distressing brushes into the paint, dabbed a little bit off on the paper towel, and then put a light coat of the black paint onto the white pumpkin. Later, I kind of felt like it needed a little bit more brown to tie in with the other pumpkins, so I did put antique Waverly wax on there as well. Next, I took my sanding block and I really sanded down all three of the pumpkins. I did this so I could blend the paints in so it didn't look like it was necessarily painted and looked like they were more natural. Next, I went back to that wedding sign that we had painted white, and using the same orange that I used for the pumpkins, I gave this a coat of that as well. Now I'm going to take these letter stickers that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to spell out the words warm autumn. Now, of course, if you have a Cricut, you could also print it out and put that on there too, but I don't have one, so I live off of letter stickers. If you notice that my M in autumn is a little smaller than the rest of the letters in that word, it's because, of course, I did not have an uppercase M. So this is just gonna have to do. Once I got them all laid out, I took my Mod Podge and I put a nice thin layer of Mod Podge over the letters so that way they didn't pop up. Once that little wedding sign was dry after I painted it with the orange, I distressed it just like I did with the other pumpkins by using my antique Waverly wax. Now I took this package of pumpkins and leaves. They are little wooden stickers. I did get these from Hobby Lobby. They did have some last year at the Dollar Tree, but I've not seen them this year. But I went ahead and took that same orange that I've been using, and I took 2 of those leaves and painted them in that color. I also mixed in some green to kind of make it look natural. Then I'm going to take one of the bigger leaves from that package from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm going to take my nautical rope and I'm going to peel a little string off of the nautical rope because I don't want it to be that thick. Then using my hot glue gun, I'm simply going to glue the nautical rope in the middle of that pumpkin, following the same shape as the pumpkin. I'm going to do this on both of those small pumpkins. Now the sign from Hobby Lobby looked like that the nautical rope was weaving in and out, but I didn't want to have to drill holes in these, so this is just what I did instead. I think it was close enough. Next, I took the nautical rope and I didn't peel any of it off. I used it just how it is, and I did the same thing on the bigger pumpkin. Next, I took that little wedding sign and some raffia and I glued it all the way down across the top of the sign with the raffia sticking up. So the best way that I learned to do this, and I did it in sections, was to take the raffia, glue a little piece down, cut, and then glue some more next to it. And then I just did that all the way down until it was completely covered up top. Don't forget to use a finger protector because you're going to need it. Next, I took some scissors and just gave it a little haircut so that all of the raffia was even across the top. Next, I took the sheet of letter stickers that I got from the Dollar Tree and spelled out the word welcome. Now, I used a couple different sheets only because, as you saw, I was missing letters, but one sheet should do the trick. Next, I took my Mod Podge again and I gave it a nice thin coat so that way it protected my stickers. Next, we're going to add some vines and some leaves to these pumpkins. Now, I apologize, I didn't realize that you really couldn't see it in this video, but I just took some green wire, I cut a piece off and folded it together, so I doubled it up. Then I twisted it really tight together and wrapped it around my finger to make it those loop-de-loos that you see at the top of pumpkins. Then I took my wooden leaves and I glued them down. Now it was time for me to arrange my sign and put it together. So I lifted up that welcome sign and I hot glued the two smaller pumpkins to the raffia in the back. Then I took the bigger pumpkin and hot glued that down to the two smaller pumpkins. After that, I went back and I arranged the raffia so that way you didn't see the bottom of any of the pumpkins. Then I was going to try to attempt to have this be a standing sign, but I quickly realized that wasn't going to work. And also, I needed some extra stability. So I grabbed two jumbo popsicle sticks. I got these in a pack from Walmart, and I glued two of them down. Then later, you're going to see that I'm going to cut them down, take off those little stands from that little arrow at the bottom, and then hot glue the bottom of the popsicle sticks down for extra stability. Now, the sign at Hobby Lobby had a post in it because it's supposed to be outside in the ground, but I didn't want to use it as a post, so I ended up just adding some twine to the top to make a hanger. There were already two holes there in that jack-o'-lantern, so I just used those. And there you have it, a Hobby Lobby dupe made out of mostly Dollar Tree items. Here's the Hobby Lobby version. And here's my version. What do you think? I think it was close enough. Our next craft is going to be this Hello Fall acorn door hanger. I didn't follow it exactly because I put my own touch on it, but I think you'll really like it. The supplies you will need is this Easter sign with all the eggs on it that I got back around springtime at the Dollar Tree, some burlap, some letter stickers, I got these at the Dollar Tree, a bag of bells, some leaves, and this cookie sheet. You'll also need 3 wooden dowels. First, you're going to start off by taking that Easter sign and you're going to take 3 wood eggs off of it. Then you're going to take some brown paint. I used chocolate from Apple Barrel from Walmart, and you're going to paint each of these eggs. After your eggs are dry, you're going to take some burlap and you're going to trace your eggs onto a piece of burlap. Then you're going to cut them out. You'll have to do this 3 times to cover all 3 of those eggs. Next, you're going to take your Mod Podge and we are going to Mod Podge the burlap on top of each egg. So you want to take a paintbrush, put a good amount of Mod Podge, make sure you get every part of the surface so that way nothing flaps up. Then you're going to take your burlap, put it on top of the egg and push down really hard, paying attention to pushing down the edges as well. After you have all of your burlap on your eggs, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut around the egg to cut off any excess that might be hanging over. Now you're going to take your aluminum cookie sheet and you are going to just start cutting squares. Now I'm going to be honest, when I started doing this, I really had no idea what I was doing, so I just went for it. Then I took my chocolate brown paint and I painted the square. Then as I was waiting for that to dry, I took a mini popsicle stick. I showed 2, but I only used 1. And you're going to cut it in 3s. Then you're going to paint it that same brown that you used before. This is going to be the stem of each of our acorns. After your aluminum piece dries, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to give that piece scalloped edges by just going at the bottom and making curves going all the way across. Then you're going to take your acorn and you're going to measure it about halfway down. You're going to cut a little piece off and then that's where you're going to hot glue it. You're going to repeat this step 2 more times on one acorn. After you have all 3 layers on your acorn, you're going to turn it around and you're going to cut off any excess aluminum that might be hanging over. You're going to take some black acrylic paint and very lightly paint the edges of each of the levels of your acorns. So you're just going to paint the rounded sides and you're going to go up around the top as well. This is just giving it some dimension and making it look like an acorn. Next, you're going to take some gold and red glitter, and by using Mod Podge, you're going to paint a little bit of it to the top of the acorn and then sprinkle the glitter on top. Now, I didn't do this in camera because I was sprinkling over my trash can, but I think you get the gist. Next, you're going to take one of the little 3 pieces of the popsicle stick and you're going to hot glue it to the back of the egg. Now, I do suggest doing this step before you do the glitter because then you can put glitter onto the stem as well, like I was supposed to, but I forgot. Next, you're going to repeat all of these steps on your last 2 eggs. While I was waiting for those 2 pieces of aluminum to dry, I took my 3 dowel rods and I painted them in that same chocolate brown that I was using before. Now, you'll see that I got the wise idea after I was done painting my first stick to stick these in fluorofoam. That helps so much because then that way you wouldn't have to get paint all over your fingers. After you've put together the rest of your acorns, you're going to take those sticker letters and you're going to spell out Hello Fall. Now, in the sign from Hobby Lobby, it said Happy Fall Welcome, but I didn't really like that, so I just went with Hello Fall. I thought it was cute. Plus, these acorns aren't as big as the ones at Hobby Lobby, so I don't think Welcome would have fit. After you have all your stickers down, you're going to take some Mod Podge and put a light coat over the words. This is to protect your letters so that they don't flap up. Next, you're going to take your dowel rods and you're going to hot glue them to the back of each acorn right on the stem. Now, to create a base for our sign, I'm going to be using this leftover circle that I pulled off of another Dollar Tree frame. What I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange all 3 of my acorns where I like them on the circle right in the middle. I did have to break off a piece of the right acorn and the left acorn to make it flush to the middle acorn, and it seemed to work a lot better. Next, I took that bag of leaves and just started gluing leaves all around the base, covering the base and the sticks. I decided to put a bow on my sign. Now, the Hobby Lobby sign did not have it, but I thought it would be really cute. So I grabbed some of this orange ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree. I took some burlap ribbon that I also got from the Dollar Tree, and I arranged it in an X formation. Next, I took some of this brown and orange shiny ribbon that I got at the Dollar Tree last year and cut 2 pieces off of that and laid it on top of my X. I also grabbed this yellow chevron ribbon that I believe came from the Dollar Tree and threw that on top of there too. Now, to tie my bow together, I took a piece of twine, pinched it in the middle, turned it around, and tied it. Now, I like to give my bows a nice clean finish, so I took the twine and wrapped it around and around and around, and until I could not wrap anymore, and then I tied it off one more time in the back. Then I kind of floofed my bow, moved the ribbons around so you could see all of them, and then I cut the ribbons down to how I liked it. This part is just to taste. Next, I took that package of bells that I got at the Dollar Tree last Christmas season. I took 3 out of the package and painted them in that brown color that I've been using all along. After that, I went back to my original sign and I decided that I was going to put more leaves to cover the base. Next, I took a piece of twine and looped all 3 bells onto it. To help me loop it through, I took a little dab of glue and put it on the end of the twine. Then I took my fingers and rolled it together to make a nice sharp tip. Once all 3 of my bells were on the twine, I went ahead and I wrapped it around the middle of my bow so that all 3 bells were on the front. Next, I took some hot glue and put a generous amount on top of the leaves and pushed the bow on top. To make a hanger for my sign, I took some nautical rope and glued it to the back. Now make sure to use a lot of glue because you don't want your hanger to fall off. And here we go. Now we have an acorn door hanger sign inspired from Hobby Lobby. Here's a picture of the sign from Hobby Lobby. And here's mine. What do you think? Thank you so much for watching my video. I truly hope you enjoyed these Hobby Lobby inspired crafts. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, then hop over to Facebook and give me a like and a follow on the Crafts with Ash page. Until next time, I'll craft with you soon. Bye!